everyone. Welcome, welcome. I want to explain why there's bagpipers here. Back in 2022, Bob was reading the newspaper that morning and he saw a picture in the paper of bagpipers playing and a story about how they've been doing events. And he cut it out of the paper, he brought it to me and told me that when it was his time, that as a part of his celebration of life, he wanted to make sure that there were bagpipers there. I have a poem that I'd like to share with you. I may not make it through, but it is printed in the programs. It's called God's Garden. God looked around his garden and found an empty place. He then looked down upon the earth and saw your tired face. He put his arms around you and lifted you to rest. God's garden must be beautiful. He always takes the best. He knew you were suffering. He knew you were in pain. He knew that you would never get well on earth again. He saw the road was getting rough and the hills too hard to climb. He closed your weary eyelids and whispered, "Peace be thine." It broke our hearts to lose you, but you didn't go alone. For part of us went with you the day God called you home.
The story starts at an airfield, at an air show, because it's Uncle Bob, and of course it did.
It's right around the time he's going to retire. It's just before he retires.
Just before he retires.
Yeah. Uncle Bob leans in, right, because the kid has seen Bob there. And, right, Bob leans in and he whispers in Sarah's ear, "Sarah, he means me." And Sarah smiles and says, "Yeah, that's my Uncle Bob." Right, because that's what she always called him. The kid snaps to, and all of them went upstairs to the top of the galaxy.
Yeah,
right?
It was the best tour, most detailed tour you could possibly imagine. He opened cabinets, it was a whole thing. But that was such a cool thing to see because up until then I'd only heard stories about how important his career was and all the things he'd done in the Air Force, and it was just this idea. But to see it happen in action was really, really powerful.
We canoed the Upper Charles River, where Bob succeeded in turning his canoe into a submarine. There were a few wet canoeists that day. Overall, there have been many memories with Bob, and as I look around, I see many others. Each with their own stories, each with their own shared experiences. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to share mine. And to the memory of Bob, I raised my own celebratory root beer float. Cheers, my friend.
And Bob said, "I'll do that." Because Bob was the type of person, retirement really wasn't in his DNA. And he really just loved to be around people and be busy. So a few days a week, we would see him at the office. And almost always when he went to Fall River, he would come back with bread, 4-degree bread, for the entire staff. And I kept scratching my head, and the staff would scratch their head, and they said, "Why does he do this every time?" And I said, "Because it brings him joy. This is not a job for Bob. This is a way for him to feel fulfilled and doing something and to be busy, other than mowing the lawn down in Dartmouth."
So I'm Braden, Bob's grandson. And when we went to the apple orchard at Washington Street, So I don't really remember this, but I have pictures and my parents tell me all about it. So he would take all the bad apples and throw them into the street at Washington Street. And he would say applesauce. And I don't know, when I was little, I just thought that was so funny. And so I really miss that. And I don't know, I feel like everybody has a story that knows him. And I feel like everybody should be sharing his story. So whoever has a story, share it so that we can all know how missed he is. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Kevin, I'm Bob's stepson, and I'm going to tell the story about the time he taught me to drive when I was 5 years old. I was with my brother. We used to fight every morning about who was going to drive his green GMC truck to school. We would sit on his lap and we would control the steering wheel while he controlled the pedals. And we would go across Route 1, which we were talking about earlier, 4-lane road with only a stop sign to go across 4 lanes. And we would go across, and we did this for probably like a few months. And then my brother Chris decided to drive onto the front lawn of the school. And Bob never heard the end of it and got reamed by our teachers. And he thought it was the funniest thing on planet Earth. And I always think I'm a good driver because I learned so young, and I love him, and it's probably my favorite memory. So thanks, Bob, for teaching me how to drive.
Well, he was mischievous too, but in a good way. So the first time he was driving, and I don't know why he was driving, but Bob was driving, and I think he had just got his license. He was probably only about 17 or 18. So we were making our trip from Plainville down to New Bedford, and he had this great idea. It was just, our parents weren't there because they would never have allowed this. But he said, hey, I'm going to beat the car. Anybody we see, everybody wave. And we just laughed all the way down to New Bedford. We got everybody waving at us, and we were laughing. But anyways, thank you, Bob, for all the wonderful memories of my life of you and all the interactions.
We had a beautiful life with a lot of adventure. I recently counted that we attended over 200 concerts. We traveled to 30 countries, 35 states and islands. We did everything from scuba diving, parasailing, ziplining, jet skiing, camping, roller coasters, the bigger and more loops, the better. Snorkeling, tubing, kayaking. We even rode bikes down the steep side of a volcano in Hawaii. And last but not least, we even kissed the Blarney Stone in Ireland. And of course, we love to drive around in our bright yellow convertible. We had no regrets. And we wished it could go on forever, and it will. I know he's gone ahead, yet will wait for me while I've fallen behind. Thank you. I'd like to ask Braden, Bob's grandson, to come up as he has a special performance. This one's called The Last Journey, and in your booklet it talks about trains, but this is my dad, so we're going to change it to planes. Last Journey by Timothy Coote. There is a plane at the air station with a seat reserved just for me.
I'm excited about its destination, as I've heard it sets you free. The trials and tribulations, the pain and stress we breathe, don't exist where I am going, only happiness, I believe. I hope that you will be there to wish me on my way. It's not a journey you can join in, it's not your time today. There'll be many destinations, some are happy, some are sad. Each one a brief reminder of the great times that we've had. Many friends I know are waiting who took an earlier plane to greet and reassure me that nothing has really changed. We'll take the time together to catch up on the past, to build a new beginning, one that will always last. One day you'll take your journey on the plane, just like me, and I promise that I'll be there at the airport and you'll see that life is just a journey enriched by those you meet. No one can take that from you, it's always yours to keep. But now, as no seat is vacant, you will have to muddle through. Make sure you fulfill your ambitions. As you know, I'll be watching you. And if there's an occasion to mention who you knew, speak kindly of that person, as one day it will be you. Now I can't accept this ending, and as it's time for me to leave, please make haste to the reception to enjoy my drinks. They're free.